The door is open, so come on in. Sound check done, let's begin. Breaking news, the guess is you. Streaming live for you to view. Open House the podcast. Open House the podcast. Oh.
It is Thursday. Good morning, everybody. You can see we have a guest in the studio. I'm finishing up an energy drink. I am Johnny Awesome. With me, of course, as always, she definitely is something. Summer is something. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to announce my guest here. Wow. Everything just got super loud and oh, what is that button? Ladies and I like that. I didn't even know that was there. That was funny. Something's always a thing. I'm super excited for our guest today. I've gone back and forth on how I wanted to set this up and how I wanted to introduce you. And I have two introductions for you.
Let's do them both.
So I'm going to just go ahead and do them both. So here I am, Summer, right? Sitting back on my couch, eating some ho-hos. I don't even know if those are a thing anymore. It makes sense. Watching, getting ready, and I'm all nice and comfortable, right? In my slippers, right? No pants. Getting ready to watch Grant Cardone's 10X, the largest sales conference in the world, right?
Absolutely.
He's got all of these guests on. I'm excited because there's inklings that Martha Stewart's going to be up on stage next.
What?
Yeah, I want to see what she's all about, right? So see if she references Snoop Dogg at all. And all of a sudden, I flip to go turn it on, and who's on stage? In front of what, 180,000 people watching?
Thereabouts, yes.
But my 10X coach, Gary Micu, everybody. Oh, it's still there it is.
Absolutely.
What is
Johnny's
happening?
figuring out the soundboard.
Johnny's hitting buttons.
I don't know why that's not working all of a sudden.
Side note: are the microphones working and headphones working for you guys? Is
Ye-
everything loud?
Yeah, do you need me to turn it down or up?
I can't hear you that well. I don't know if you're
Is that better?
Oh, that's mine. That's why.
Oh, that's why. Now is it better?
Yeah.
There you go. It's because I just turned it down too loud.
Okay.
So, I was super excited. I will add sound effects later. I don't know why the sound effects board isn't working all
That's
of a
okay.
sudden.
When it's that powerful, you don't need to use the sound effect.
There it is.
There it is. There we go.
There. I have
I
never.
love that one.
And we're gonna get into this in a minute. I have never been more and I took a picture. Here's the thing, my mind for a split, like not even a third of a second, was like, is that Gary? And I instantly just knew that it was, and I was so happy.
So he was on stage.
He's on stage with Grant Cardone, being recognized for
That's
being the
awesome.
number 2 Grant Cardone coach in like the world. Is that right?
Number 2 global Grant Cardone performance coach.
They had freaking fireworks for him and everything.
Wow.
I was like, what? And then Grant Cardone comes up, and then
I'll send you the clip.
And then Martha said, yeah, I'll put it up. I'll share it on the page.
We'll put it in.
Yeah. Because I just sent you the picture. I took it with my phone. I took this picture, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. So I've never been more excited for anybody to be on stage for anything ever in my life.
Well, I appreciate that.
What an amazing moment for me. I remember. I remember. No, I just.
Here comes the book club story.
Yeah,
gonna all
I
lay out.
remember
Johnny
book
set the
club.
stage.
So crazy.
You know, here's the fact of the matter, though, and no, I don't want to take anything away from because you know this now as a coach.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things that we deal with is getting people to do the thing that they need to do.
Just do the thing.
Just do it, right? And unfortunately, as much as we coach people, there's only a very small percentage of people that will actually take action. What is nice to see is that when one of those small percentages took action, it had a major impact.
Right.
Not just because I've been coaching people for years, and I know I've had impact. I can see it in their business, and since their business picked up, their life is better, marriages are better, whatever. They can get their kids' haircut. They figured out how to do all that stuff. But then you have this like, there's a guy that I coached on stage.
No, yeah, that's
That's
great.
so cool.
That's a
Yeah.
great
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
You planted the seed.
Well, but realistically, here.
See, now you're telling the book
I was
club
gonna
story.
I know,
Here
yes.
comes the book club story.
Yeah.
I told you it was
Joining
coming.
forces with
Yeah.
that. Oh, no.
This just turned into
You
a
didn't
rough-
do this at all on your own.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. It really is.
What's
and
really
it's funny though,
go
is
ahead.
it really does come back to the book club, which is why I joke about that.
Yeah.
Because
I'll let you tell the story.
we're sitting around, and at the time I was doing mortgages, just left accounting, still CPA, but I was doing taxes. Left from there, went over, was doing mortgages. Johnny and I were at the same place, and we were sitting around with some of the newer LOs and saying, okay, well, how do we get a little better here, right? What can we do to improve ourselves? We want to double down. We want to take advantage of great refi market at the time.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we put some things in place. And Johnny's like, well, why don't we do this book club thing? I've got this really good book we'll read, right? So he pulls out this book, and he's all excited to share it with us. And we're sitting down. And day one, there's what, 10 of us, give or take, probably.
What's funny is the day one in that clip. So I sent Gary a clip that I won't share.
Please don't.
But I sent him a clip of, and do you know why that clip was set like that? Do you remember why I filmed that?
I don't. I really don't.
Because you had not yet started the book. You hadn't read it, and you were like slow. You were the most excited to come out of it, but you were the slowest one to come into it.
Okay.
That's why me and you shot that video. That was kind of me forcing you into the book club, and you were
You didn't
laughing.
Really do the book club?
I like the idea of it, but I think I was facing that time excuse, right? I don't have time. I've got other things.
You should have seen me at my last book club.
Isn't that going on right now still? Aren't you in it?
No, it was.
Are you there right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. It always comes to a time thing,
Yeah.
It is, and it is a time thing. But what was great is day one we had a bunch of people, right? Or what I thought was day one. So apparently my memory is I'm a little slow to the party. But when I finally came in, we had a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And then it just filtered and filtered. Eventually it was like just you, me, and one other guy. We'd sit around and be like, all right, where'd everybody go?
Yeah.
But then we just hammered it out. And one of the great things from that book in particular is it's the little things that matter.
Yep.
And that starts the compound.
Yes.
And then that led me on that journey. So I did end up, getting more serious about, in particular, selling and mortgages. Found Grant through that. So it really, I joke it's going to be the book club story, but there's a lot of truth to it as far as, I was really lost. I was truly lost. And Johnny helped me find that path. Once I found the path, then I kind of just took over, and that drive and ambition kicks in. Found Grant, became a 10X business coach, became a Grant Cardone performance coach, and then Johnny turns on his TV, and there I am.
There you are.
Back at him like, I see you.
Wow.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, is when it comes to coaching, good coaching, you got to realize, and by the way, shout out to Jeff Olson, who wrote the book. The book that you're talking about is The Slight Edge. Anybody that's ever known me, and every podcast I've ever done, I have always recommended it. And that's not my first rodeo. If you remember me pulling my Slight Edge copy out, it is every page is pretty much written. It's the only book that I know of that I've highlighted nearly every page. And that book, that I still have it to this day, is like my baby. That is the best, I think, resource. Now, ones that we started on was the newer and updated edition.
Right.
But that's just me passing knowledge from Jeff Olson. Now we start a thing about it. So it's cool, because I don't even know if Jeff Olson realizes the influence. That's what's really cool about influence. Sometimes you don't even know. Here's a kid that picked up this book way back in the day, and then now it made an impact on my life. Now I'm sharing it with other people to make an impact. And then because of that, all of a sudden you're on stage. Right. So I can't even take all the credit. All I did was just organize a bunch of people to read this book. Mm-hmm. Jeff Olson, please collaborate.
Well, that's awesome. Like that you're just the type of person that if you feel, well, it's the coach in you. Of course.
Yeah.
You're not just, but that's why you became a coach, and you share knowledge, and sharing knowledge, when someone is at a lower spot, or they don't know what they're doing with their business, or they're trying to brand themselves, and just giving a little piece that gives them like that motivation to take it a step further. That's huge. And it's a small piece, but it becomes a huge success.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that lay the groundwork then to be able to accept Grant's 10x rule, massive action, right? Because if you don't have the little things down, then you can't do the big things.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it laid a foundation that then was able to build off of. And now I think, I keep that book on my bookshelf.
Yeah.
Right. So when I'm talking to some of Grant's clients, obviously I don't bring it up. I'm talking all Grant's content. But outside of that, I mean, I reference that book and I think back on it. Am I doing the easy thing or am I taking the easy thing and just skipping it?
Yeah.
Right. What's that easy thing to skip? And we talk a lot about closing cycles. That's really what it is. It's closing cycles. It's two ways to describe that same thing. You gotta do the little things.
Yep.
But then they build. They really,
They
they
do.
build into some fantastic things.
As long as you
I
put
said
it
that
in.
word.
We're gonna have
Sorry,
to.
Johnny.
We're gonna have to edit
take
that word out. The
Ugh.
whole episode. Go down the trash. He used the F word on the show.
I'll exit stage right.
Yeah. Well, this will be a perfect opportunity for me to do the second intro then.
Okay.
All right. All right. So re-cue the music. All right. Great. That's not it. Don't play that
Hey,
one.
that was a good
That's-
one.
it was
That was a
perfect.
good guess.
Yeah. It's
I
like
know
you've
I
done.
like that
It's
too.
like you've done this before.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah. It's
Thank
the
you.
generic everybody that starts a podcast intro music ever. My last podcast, we started with that one too. But so here's the other intro. You ready for
All
this?
right, let's hear it.
So here I am, Summer, right? I am at one of the lowest points of my life. I'm thinking to myself, I don't have any money. I am broke. I'm trying to start this startup business, of which isn't making any money. And I have my kids coming with me for 10 days. We're supposed to be in literally 3 weeks. I'm supposed to be taking my kids on vacation and we're supposed to be spending time together, all this quality time. And I have not only don't I have a penny to my name, I don't know what I'm about to do. And I said to myself, coaches need coaches.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you're in that valley of despair that I've talked about,
Yeah.
you need somebody that's on the outside. I love the quote. I've heard this forever. You can't take your crappy old self into a bright new future. You need that other outside perspective. And coaches, especially people that are in tune with other people, need coaches more than anybody else, I believe, because we're so busy focusing on others that we have a hard time focusing on ourselves.
Right.
Can be.
So I am sitting there thinking, and then I just realized I know a guy. And one time we went out to lunch and he was telling me, yeah, I have the ability to just charge you $1. And I'm like, so I call him, right? I was like, hey, I'm going to call your bluff on this, right? You remember when you said that you could, how you're Grant Cardone coaching? I said, here's where I'm at. Here's what I need. And we put a game plan together. And this is the craziest thing. In a 3-week period of time, I went from zero income to $7,000 cashed to being able to take my vacation, to being able to hang out with my kids out on that boat, right? And I was driving somebody else's vehicle that wasn't even my own.
Oh.
All in a 3-week period of time because I gave this man a call, everybody. It's Gary Micu.
And I think what's awesome too is the follow on. Never over talk to applause. You made that mistake on stage, right? So when it was the follow on too, because not only did you do that in the span of 3 weeks, you flipped around the revenue issue, you created the cash flow, cash collected too.
Yes.
Not receivables. This was cash in the bank.
Yes.
But then you had a plan, and you worked that plan for the next months, year
until it died. Well, no. This was this is surprisingly was just 6 months ago now.
Yeah. Oh,
it wasn't even that long ago. No.
Yeah.
Or was it a little bit longer? August
Maybe
of last year.
Longer, but yeah, not too long.
August. Hang on, let me do some math here.
Uh-oh.
August, the others, and then now 6 months ago.
Yeah.
7.
Thank you, Summer. Whatever.
Or it's April.
Is it April already?
April
Yeah.
3rd.
All right. Good.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's April already. Oh my God.
You are the best.
Somebody check their calendar.
Somebody knows how podcast magic works. So yeah, so it was it was one of those things that, and I've recommended it to be like, you don't, again, it's hard. And I think I've told this to you, Summer. It's like standing, sometimes you know that you're so thirsty,
Yeah.
and you know that there is water and an oasis sitting on the other side. But you're in this forest and you're sitting in front of this tree, and you can't see around the tree to get to that water. And unfortunately, most people will say, just do it. Or, and it's like, no, you like, my feet are stuck in this mud, and it's like, I can't just move. I need to somehow come up with an exterior. Hey, well, listen, if you just wiggle your feet enough, because one of the biggest mistakes people make, and this is in the slight edge too, is they try to just take giant leaps instead of just doing a little bit better today. One of my favorite quotes, you'll like this because this is one of my newer favorite quotes.
Okay.
Step by step, one travels far.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Think about that. We're not taking giant leaps here. And you get, especially if you're a big guy like me, you're going to get worn out, right? We're taking little small steps. So somebody just to say, wiggle your feet enough, and then move a little bit to the side until you can finally get around that tree. And then what's crazy is, and you remember me telling you this, is when you start taking those massive actions, right? And you start having that success, all of a sudden, like, we had a goal for $5,000.
Yeah.
We didn't know how I was going to hit it. But now all of a sudden you're putting all this stuff in my head. He's telling me to watch these videos. I'm like, who's got my money today? My mindset is changing back to the positive. All of a sudden, I'm not doom and gloom. I'm looking for opportunity. And like Gary Keller says, what you focus on expands.
Right.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, boom, overshoot the goal. Right? Now, I didn't 10X it because, and we've had that discussion before.
10X is a process.
10X is
a process.
Yeah. Grant Cardone would have said, well, you should have made 500,000.
What's the excuse?
What's the excuse? Yeah.
I'll tell you on that though, and there's some truth in expanding the goal and making it even bigger, and how fast can we compress time. But there's something to be said about starting, right? So when you're at that bottom place, or you feel you're stuck in your business and you start, that is the first massive step, right? It's all the little steps that add up to that first big leap.
Yeah, it's like even when that flip or the switch flips in your head, that you decide that you're going to start.
Yes, when you make the commitment.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about commitment, and it's the decision, right? Because thinking's instantaneous.
Yes.
But we hold off on actually making a decision because there's some unknown, there's a fear or uncertainty. So you talk to a coach and you're like, all right, just lay it out. This is where I'm at.
Yeah.
This is where I want to be.
Yes.
This middle part is like the deep dark forest, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a light? Do you have a map? What do you got? What can you help me with? All right. Well, sometimes you have the light and you just forgot you had it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you had the map and it got dirty. So we got to clean the map off a little bit.
Yes.
By the time we do that, you start taking those steps. It was that commitment. That was the big leap. Then you start moving through the forest, and now you're on your way to the oasis.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So that's the big thing.
I've heard it described as head, heart, hunger. You get it in your head, and then all of a sudden, once you cognitively understand, I'm stuck, I know what I need to do, right? But then you start to really go after it. Now it becomes a part of you, right?
Right.
And then once that happens, it's this cycle. All of a sudden you become hungry for more, and it just keeps cycling through.
Yes.
And that's how you compound success right there.
Right. And the variation of that. So what we talk about from just the 10X terminology.
Yeah.
What you think is what you say. What you say is what you do. What you do becomes your legacy.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
It just takes it that next step. And
I
it
love
puts the
that.
legacy into it. But it's exactly that. It's you get hungry for more success.
Think, say, do, legacy. Is that what it is?
Think, say, do, legacy.
Oh, I love that.
I love the way you explain everything.
Isn't that great?
Thank you.
I really do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. I think everybody needs Gary Micu as their 10X growth coach.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's funny.
But
There's
you're not going to get Johnny's former coach help me get on stage discount. I'm just putting it out there. The rates have changed. Johnny's
as
the
they
best
should. There's realistically and it's true. One of the things that's great about what we do is I have absolutely no matter what, and I had a coaching company, I had no problem, because there's different coaches for different people and places and different things, right? There's only two people that ever recommend anybody to. If you're looking for money, Austin Chevron, I would go to his program for how to deal with money if you're an entrepreneur at all, because he has the only program I've ever seen where at the end of the day, you get to spend everything that's in your bank account, but you're still creating wealth, right?
That's a good program.
And yeah, yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
And if you're looking for massive growth, like what we're talking about here, it would be absolutely Gary. And I'm not just saying, and as being number 2 on stage, which I almost sent you a message, but it's such a grand thing. I was almost like, you almost made it. But number, like, you're,
I knew you were going.
Yeah. But I couldn't though.
When's Johnny gonna
I couldn't because listen, we're not talking about the difference between Google and frickin' Yahoo here, like where there's this giant leap. You're like number 2, but aren't you also aren't you also like now the boss of number 1? Like, aren't you?
No, not really. But what it was funny. We were meeting Jake and Sandra, and then Marielle and I. We're standing around, we're talking, and Sandra's like, "Can you guys like make an agreement, like calm down a little bit, like And she's saying this to Jess because she's an entrepreneur too. They own a software company together, him and his wife. And they're just hard chargers, right?
Yeah.
So she's joking with me, like, "Can I get my husband back? Like, he's doing, you're making him work to overcome." And I'm like, hey, and it's funny because I was number 1 for a good part of the year.
Yeah.
We had some family tragedy go on and push through that, persevere. And Jake says to me one day, he goes, "My brand's number 1 coaching. I can't keep being number 2. It's driving me batty." So I said, "Make it happen." Well,
yeah, there it is.
That friendly competition. We both sit on the board for the performance coaches. Great guy, and it's such a fun competition because we're like, "I'm gonna get you," and he's like, "I'm gonna get you back," and we just have this little tit for tat.
Yeah,
and it works out because, and I'll tell you, one other thing that really stands out is there are 2 people on that stage from Michigan. Number 3, Karen is also from Michigan. She's actually a little closer out by where you're at.
Yeah,
and it was awesome because we had been in an accountability group. There were 5 of us way early on. The accountability groups are something brand new for our coaches. They weren't super flushed out. It was more an idea than a practice.
Yeah.
But we stuck through, the 3 of us.
There it is. How about that?
Who ends up on stage? The 3
yep.
of us.
Yep. No surprise.
Wow.
Yeah.
No surprise.
Coaching works.
Again, an accountability group.
Yep.
How about that?
Right.
It starts. That is something I think there's 2 things I think everybody should be in. An accountability group for something at some point in time, and therapy. I think everybody should be in both those. And sometimes therapy looks like coaching, therapy / coaching, whatever, wellness better. But sometimes there's issues that you got to get through before you can even accept coaching, because we both know some people are not coachable right now.
Right.
They need to work through some issues first. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, and then accountability for whatever it is that you want to be, like join one of those, because look, a rising tide lifts all ships, right?
Right.
So being around, and the osmosis of just being around people, even if it does dwindle down to 1 or 2.
No, it dwindled to 3, and then 3 end up on stage in front of 7,500 people at the MGM Garden Arena in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And another 150,000 people online.
Yeah.
Right. And Johnny turns on his TV and his slippers.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there.
There
right.
you are.
Which, by the way, he looked very nervous. I'm not saying that you were, but that screen, then you were just, I don't know what, you must have been in concentration.
Oh my God. I tell you what.
Yeah. So, tell us about that moment.
I feel like you're not a real nervous person.
Well, hang on. Where's my, it's up there. I'm going to see if I'm going to pull this picture and I'm going to show it. This I am going to show.
Okay, perfect.
You tell us what did it feel like? What did it feel like being on stage like that?
Right.
Like, you weren't nervous at all going out there? I mean,
so I'll tell you, I was more anxious than nervous leading up. Like that morning, I was like jittery. I'm like, man, I got to get something to calm me down.
Yeah, you're
like
excited.
I don't drink caffeine. I don't do energy drinks. Like Johnny's drowning in an energy drink. I'm like, I do decaf. Like,
yeah.
I'm having my decaf in the morning. I'm making sure I stay cool. We went to breakfast at Paris Hotel. We went and got breakfast on the Strip. Took it a little bit easier than I normally would in the morning. I'm just trying to keep everything kind of like copacetic.
Vibes,
yes,
like,
exactly.
Set the mood.
I have my, everything was prepped the night before, so it's just get the suit on. We're good to go.
Yeah.
We get in there and I'm like jittery all morning. Then we break for lunch, and we went on in the afternoon. It was around 4:30 Pacific, so a little later in the evening here. And we, after lunch, I don't know what happened at lunch. It just had some great conversations with some people, had some good prospects come through. Somebody wanted to work with me to be their coach, so I brought him over to our booth, got him signed up. And
Nice.
that just set me into the stage of like, all right, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
You're working.
So
like,
it
doing
knocked
your
the
thing.
jitters. Yes, I
Yeah.
got that focus back. So then we get down, and of course, like all things, it never goes super smooth, right? There's always these road bumps.
Yeah.
So there's two sections. There was the stadium seating, and then there was the floor seating, and you had to have a specific pass to get between the two areas. So we're with our director of the program, and hopefully nobody gets mad at me for sharing this. and MGM Security's like, oh, you guys don't have the right pass. And our director of the program is like, these guys have to be on stage. Like, do you really want to stand in the way?
Yeah.
And this is all like, polite conversation, professional to professional. And they're like, look, I totally get it, but without the pass, like we need to hear from so-and-so. So they come around and send somebody out.
Are we frozen? Hang on
No.
1 second. Okay,
No,
we're
we're
still
not.
rolling.
No, we're
Yeah.
still
All right, we're frozen on my end. I didn't mean that.
Johnny's
We'll edit
frozen.
that out.
Johnny's freezing me out.
I know. What the heck?
So we're coming through, security stops us, and they're like, we got to hear from somebody on the event team. So call gets made. This is what 10X mentality is. Somebody from the event team literally comes around the corner at a full sprint. I mean, a full sprint. Comes up to security and like, they're good. And then here comes the main events manager behind and I'll tell you what, her walk is a normal person's run. Like,
oh my god.
She is keeping up with Grant.
She's like
all
flying?
day, every day. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. So she's flying, but it's a walk. So she comes around.
So
the
like
corner.
gracefully, just.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Okay.
Oh my god! Like just like a jet, right? It looked no effort,
I can imagine.
but super fast. And security takes one look and is like, "Okay, you guys are good."
Like,
So we come on through, and they're like, "Thanks," and we thank them. They were just doing what they needed to, but we get in there, and then we behind the scenes here, right? So we empty out our pockets. They got a little computer room. We put our phone and stuff in, so you look good on stage.
You couldn't take your phone out and do a selfie on stage.
Well, we could. I mean, it wasn't necessarily encouraged, but we could. But
Okay.
It was more so, you don't want that, like the pocket bulge.
Yeah.
Right. You got your wallet in your pocket, and then it gets.
Yeah.
See it.
I mean, this is.
It's legit.
Yeah.
This is high res cameras.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
175,000
It's like
people.
a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
There's fireworks.
So we're like
Pyro
it's
kept
perfection.
scaring Martha Stewart.
Oh my gosh! Yes, the smoke.
Yeah.
So we stand in the little tunnel, right?
Yeah.
So you're underneath the seats. You're looking at the stage. It's in the center of the floor there, and you're waiting to go out. And Bob Duggan's on stage. Now he's worth like $15, $17 billion. What's $2 billion at that point, right?
Yeah.
So he's worth about that range. Huge biotech guy, massive entrepreneur. Him and Grant doing the interview. And there's some inkling, yes, that somebody might come on later on. So we're like, all right, cool. So, we line up and we're sitting there and you're just looking around and everybody's honed in on them. And then they rap and they do the flames and the smoke and everything and everybody's cheering. And you realize how loud it is when you're down there. You're like, oh man, okay, it's a little different.
Yeah.
When you're like in the tunnel than just in the event.
Interesting.
So we line up side stage.
Yeah.
And they just start calling us one by one, right? So they're doing the intro, and it was great because we had gotten to give them some information about us, but then they made the selection of how to do the intro, just like Johnny, right? So, so Johnny knows about me, and then he picks how he's going to intro me, and I don't know what he's going to say.
You didn't know,
right? Yeah, I mean,
I don't even know what I'm gonna. Nobody knows what I'm gonna say.
That's a little different.
Yeah, a little bit different. There's a little plan there.
There's a cue card here. Right?
Yeah.
So the president of the company, he calls you up, and all I could think of was the steps are oversized. Right, they made a point of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, they're like, 1.5 times the normal height.
Oh
Some of the
God.
ladies had heels on, so they were real nervous about it.
Yeah.
I'm just in dress shoes, and I'm like, man, if the ladies make it up this stage and I biff it on these steps, I will never live it down.
Yeah.
I was like, this will be seen. So I'm just focused on like, take a step. All right, get up the stairs.
Yeah.
The smoke things go off. I barely even notice it. It's just peripheral.
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, I got one more step, 2 more steps.
Like,
Okay,
That's
there's
so
the
funny.
president.
Steps.
Right? Oh my gosh. And I'm breaking it down. It's just process. I'm like, okay, left hand grab the trophy, right hand handshake,
So
and then I gotta go stand over there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I turn around and I'm like, oh wow, I'm up here. And then it like clicked.
That's when it clicked.
So when you logged on and you saw it, we had been up there for a minute or two already.
Yeah.
And they were going through some other things. But my understanding is it was the president of the company, and he was going through some information. And then number one, Jake and I were right over his shoulder.
Yeah.
So we were in.
Yeah. Here it is,
for
right
like
here, guys.
10 minutes.
Here it is. I'm pulling it up right now. How do I add this? That's not it.
It did something.
I did do something. It's right here. There it is. I just got to move it in front of us. Boom. Did that work?
No,
No.
Sweet. I have no
something happened.
Something did happen.
I just don't know what.
You moved the logo on.
Was it the logo?
Yeah,
That's
you
what I
moved the
thought
logo.
it was.
Stop media share. I have shared media, but you can't see it right now.
Oh my god,
No.
I'm getting upset. I want to see it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we can do it behind the scenes and make everybody else jealous.
No. I'm adding it.
Good.
I'm gonna add this I'm gonna do this a different way. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. I see what I'm doing here.
All
Hang on, y'all. There it is. I see how to do it. There. Boom.
There we go.
There you go. There it is. There is his face. I could probably zoom this live time here, can't I? There he is on stage. This is what I tuned into.
Oh, look at you there.
There he is.
I love it.
There he is. This is
Johnny zoomed
this
in.
is the moment right here where I didn't even, there was a split second where I go, is that that's Gary? Like, it wasn't even and I instantly knew, and I screenshotted this and then I sent it to him.
Absolutely.
And I don't even know, and I'll tell you this live too. I don't even know if it really matters. But I shot him a message and I said, oh no.
There it is.
Yeah. I shot him a message. Let me remove this.
That's awesome.
So what you're not seeing is behind the scenes who are doing the still photo, and just to show the scale of how big it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today, there we go. Yeah. So I sent him a message.
Oh
So
my god, maybe I could show the camera.
what is this? You got a different
I
picture
got
of it?
just a still image of me with the smoke going.
Oh, yeah. We could throw that up there.
A little closer.
It's gonna zoom out. Send it.
There you go,
Oh,
right
there it
there.
is.
Back just a little. Perfect.
There it
Kind
is.
of. You got to put your hand behind it. This makes for great podcast
I
audio.
wanted to focus.
Send it to us. We'll
I'll
throw
send
it
it.
up
Yeah,
there,
we'll throw it up.
and
That's
I'll throw it up and post edit. You know, I sent you this message, and the crazy thing is like we were joking a lot about it a little bit, but like, you know, I sent him a message and I'm like, hey man, I'm proud of you. And it's funny because at this point in time, I don't even know if me being proud of you means anything, because he's shaking Grant Cardone, saying Grant Cardone's like, hey man, I'm proud of you. You know, and I'm like, and here I am back in Michigan in my underwear watching this whole thing
Oh my
unfold.
God.
Eating popcorn, and actually, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But
Oh jeez.
I wasn't actually. I was in my car. Still didn't know where my pants were though. But
That's a really cool moment.
it was very, yeah. That's
for
but
you, obviously.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
For you as well.
Yeah.
Because you guys work together. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. No, I loved it. It was.
And for me now, because I'm here with both of you. How special is that?
So I gotta ask this, like, so now, what have you found, like, as a coach?
Mhm.
Do you find it hard to live by what you
Yeah.
give other people to do?
Of course.
Like, is it harder for you now that you know what you're supposed to be doing to do what you need to do, or do you find it like, how do you manage that?
It's not harder, but the bar is higher.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So the expectation is there. Because if I'm asking you to take massive action, or if I'm asking you to
Yeah.
commit to take some
Yeah.
action, or to close cycles or to finish something, and then I'm not doing that, well, at the very least, I'm being hypocritical.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
the worst, I'm just feeding you a line of crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So which is it? Now, the one thing that's nice is because I coach a lot with Grant's material, I know it works.
Right.
So if I were to fail in some aspect, I know it's still good.
Because the material
Yeah.
works.
Because the material works. We
Yep.
see the success that it delivers.
You live it.
Exactly. And then you live it. So it's not harder. It's not easier either.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same toughness, right? Everything worthwhile is hard to do. Right? It's hard to show up every day for a client when you're tired, or the client before them had some, horrible thing, and you're trying to work through it. Now
Yes.
the next guy needs you to show up and be like, hey, I'm Coach Gary. How you doing? Like,
Yeah.
let's do
Yep.
a win.
Yeah.
You gotta stay your best, your highest
Right.
level self.
And that's one of the hardest things. I think
How
for
do you do it?
coaches.
How do you do it? Do you have a secret to snapping
Yes,
into it?
share the secret.
Yes.
What's your secret?
I can't tell you.
What?
Why?
Because it's a
Everybody says
secret.
that.
Okay.
That's not fair.
No.
What's
there's
the,
no big secret.
No.
I'll tell you, the thing that makes the biggest difference, and this is going to sound like now I'm like the cliche coach, right?
That's okay.
But
We
it's
love it.
train the content every day.
Okay.
On the way over here, I was listening to If You're Not First, You're Last.
Right. You actually
Right.
recommended that to me.
Yes.
Yep.
And currently working through our sales manager workshop. I'm training on that. Reading Grant's wealth creation formula book, because I've got some clients who have an interest in it, and I need to keep up with what they're seeing.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's so much content. But if you can take 30 minutes to an hour every day and train content,
Yes.
actually set that aside and train something that you know is good for you and works. And then while you're doing your admin tasks, put on an audiobook.
Yeah.
Put on something of quality. It could be a podcast that's got quality information. It
Yeah.
could be an audiobook.
Yeah,
it
not
could be a
this.
training.
This is
This is entertainment.
entertaining.
Whatever. You'll be getting little snippets of education plus laughing.
Yes. Well, and
So
that's
do
the thing
open
is
house.
you want that entertainment.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Actually, not to. It is funny, but at the same time, people don't realize this. You just said something that's really important, and people don't realize this. What you put in your head is what's eventually going to come out. The amount of people that tell me that they listen to a specific type of music just for the beat, they don't understand what is going in is actually sticking around in there, and it starts to form your beliefs, and then it starts to form what beliefs will turn into your habits, right? And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because even putting if you think you're not listening while you're working on something else, and you've got a success podcast or even something like this that's entertainment, there's snippets of fun, but at the same time, there's actual nuggets in here, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
You're listening to that no matter what. Now, you might walk away and think you didn't get anything out of it, but the amount of people that can quote quotes from a movie that they never tried doing, or remember lyrics from a song that they never actually tried to memorize is crazy, because that stuff gets in. The question is, what are you putting in? And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that is one of the keys. I think when anybody I've talked to in success, they are very careful. And in my household, I've always been very careful. We don't do secular music in our household, because what are you going to learn about? Sex, drugs, alcohol.
Sure.
No success in there, right? So you've got to really, really, and look at where people are at these days, especially violence, the amount of people that have issues with this, that, or the other thing.
Violence, depression.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. And what do? They put on headphones and they directly put messages in their head all day long that are not positive. Now, I'm not anti, you can listen to whatever you want to. That's great if you want.
Heard what I was listening to on the way here.
And how was your drive?
Oh, well, I'm not gonna lie, it was stressful.
Right.
It was stressful. You guys could tell when I got here. I was like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you. And I, we're coming different directions and a little different time, but same road, right? Same final road, Big Beaver, same crazy Oakland County drivers. And I live in Macomb County, so every time I cross in Oakland County, I'm like, wow, these drivers, right? And I know that's just a bias, but
they are.
I'm willing to admit that. But also, you guys know you're crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
You know it.
They are.
I'm not from here, so.
I know. Yeah, you're a little north, so you get a pass.
I'm not the crazy driver.
No, it's everybody else.
That's what everybody says.
That's
right?
what they would say. That's
Right.
that's what somebody that listens to horrible music would say. It's not me. It's somebody else. Total deflection.
So I'm listening to If You're Not First, You're Last, and I'm trying to think, man, how do I get to first?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm thinking on that, and people are doing all their stuff.
And go figure, you got here before the rest of us.
Right.
Because.
Right.
And meanwhile, you're listening to music, so you were first. You were last.
You were last too, Johnny.
I was middle.
Yeah, which means you're last.
But what's
if
that?
You're not first, you're last. I was last on that stage. I was not first on that stage.
What's that?
I was not first on that stage.
Yes.
If you're not first.
I love that you turned this back
last.
around on you. You're correct. Yeah. Why'd you lose first? We should get you back there. I'm
glad
you turned that back around.
It's about production and output.
That is true.
And I allowed somebody to pass me.
Yeah.
But I feel like that mindset for you, like, look at how great he's doing. That if you're not first, you're last. Keep that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it.
And it's not that you don't celebrate it, right? Because
Correct.
I mean, we're celebrating the number.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about it. I'm showing everybody. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, and clearly there's a difference between second and like bottom. Right, I mean, there is a difference. Right?
Yeah,
there's you show up third and there's show up second.
You know what's funny? Actually, I'm actually surprised. Now that you brought all this up, I'm surprised Grant even let anybody underneath one up there.
Hey, you know,
It should have just been, here's the first place person, fireworks, and then these guys are all last, and then you guys all just had to like sit in the back.
you got to have a little more production time.
I'll tell you what,
I think
though.
you got to fill the clock.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, the only person that got the screen time was you. When I watched that clip, at least from where I was watching in the camera angle, like you were there the whole time.
Right, and I knew that the whole time because I bribed the production team.
Oh, is that how
that's
that
why
happened?
I chose to be in second.
Yeah. That's it. It's like Grant Cardone says in the 10X, if a car accident's going to happen, I'm the one that's going to make it happen, right? So listen, if I'm going to be on camera and I got to be second to be there, I made that happen.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
And it is. You just take full accountability for it.
Let me.
Right? And you fail forward.
I know. We only got a few minutes left because, and we got a game we got to play.
Yeah, I got about 5 minutes and I got a hard stop.
Before we do that, I want to talk about Martha Stewart a little bit.
Sure.
Here's my only question about Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart goes up on stage, and the entire time
after us, by the way.
Yes, Gary.
Yeah.
Yes,
Super
Gary's
fast.
there, and then Martha Stewart shows up, right?
That's crazy,
So
Martha
he's walking
Stewart.
off. Martha Stewart's walking on. Gary and her kind of did this like G-Dog
Wow.
thing.
Wow.
Now you're making
And
stuff.
Martha
Oh.
Stewart slipped some
Now
drugs
we
in his
think.
back
I'm
pocket.
believing everything.
No, no, but it's true though. Martha Stewart walks up on stage as soon as he exits
Yeah, we
stage.
actually-
Did you get a
we
chance to
came
see
up.
her talk, or were you
Yeah.
guys in the back room?
No, we saw her talk. We actually went to her restaurant that evening.
I know you did. I sent you a message
So,
about that. Yeah. So Martha Stewart is on stage, and this is very interesting because there was an interesting point that was made that I want to get your opinion on. The entire time she was promoting, and she said, "Well, I'm a marketer, of
Right.
course." She literally promoted 15 or 16 different products. She never stopped. Like her entire thing was promoting her products. And she said it was because she was a marketer. Here's what I thought was really interesting. And this is a conversation I wanted to have with you. And I only brought you on here to have this conversation because I was dying to have this. It's interesting because Grant asked, what's more important, marketing or sales?
Right.
She said, well, sales. But yet all she does is market. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Right.
So her answer was that she's a marketer. However, all she did was sell the entire time.
Reverse, but yeah.
Reverse,
Yeah, you flipped it on that.
Well, how did I flip it?
When you said it the second time, you
Her
just flipped it. You're all
answer
good.
was that she
Was a
is
marketer.
in sales.
Right, but she was marketing the whole time, but she said sales was more important. And I think Grant,
Yes.
so to get to your answer.
Yes.
Grant is always, he was sales. Right?
Yes.
That's all you focus on.
Yeah.
Now, marketing is senior to sales,
Yes.
right? And in fact, service is senior to sales as well. So sales starts coming down a couple notches. Now,
Yeah.
that being said, sales is the only point. When you close that cycle, you close the deal, you've got the exchange of money. That's the only time that you produce revenue. It's also the only time you actually help anybody. But if you don't market, if you're not known, they don't know you, they can't flow you, right? And then another one, right? Best known beats best, right? So the reason then you go and you get a hamburger and you're willing to wait in line for 15 minutes for lunch for a crappy hamburger that comes in a wrapper versus just ordering ahead
Or going to
walking in,
Chili's where it's fresh.
Sure,
And it's
and
only
getting a fresh
$10.99.
and it's a couple bucks more, is because best known,
Oh, interesting.
right? So it beats best. No, I don't think anybody would reasonably argue that that's the best burger.
Right.
It's the one that you get for $2 on the whatever they call the dollar menu now, because
Yeah.
it's not a dollar anymore,
No.
right? But
Dollar plus tax menu.
yeah, exactly. But it's not the best burger, but you go there anyways because it's the best known.
Because you know it's the best.
So
So
Don't-
that's why you've got to market. And
don't you,
that's what she was doing.
don't you think that marketing is just sales though?
No.
Because she was, so I think I did say it right, by the way. I think what I said is exactly what I meant. Because she was on stage, she said she was in marketing, and then she's marketing all this.
Right.
But she was actually selling it the entire time. That's my perspective. This is why I want to talk, because I figured there was going to
See,
be.
this is where we need more time.
You know what? Let's hold it off till the next time you come on. Does that sound fair? We'll talk about Martha
Can
Stewart.
I just end it with saying that does make sense, how the marketing, it is above the sales.
So I'll give you the 7 steps, and I think it's not the full explanation, but it gives the answer. So there's idea and target. We've got to have that. That's our step 1. And this is a cycle, by the way, so we can come around this circle numerous times. Number 2, you've got to get attention. Because if you've got an idea and a target but no attention to it, nobody knows, which means you can't do anything with it. 3 then is leads. Use the attention to generate the leads. Once you've got leads, you need to lead manage, right? Manage those leads. We think of our CRMs and things like that, follow up. Then we go into our sales process because we can't sell without a lead.
Yeah.
And most leads are not ready to buy. Only about 2% of all closed business happens in the first contact.
Correct.
So we know we've got to do lead management. Once you've made the sale, now you've got money management and sales management. Then you push into scaling. Scaling is what we ramp things up. And then you come back around to idea and target.
Yeah.
Because you might need to reinvent yourself, your company, your process, your systems, your techniques.
Yeah.
Even change your offer.
Okay, so you definitely have to come back on the show.
Yes, we'll walk through it.
Okay.
Well, not only that, but because I want to continue this conversation about the difference between sales and marketing. Because again, we don't have we're going to start with that next time so we can argue about that.
Right into it.
Because I'm telling you, she was selling the entire time she was up there.
I agree with you, Johnny. 100%,
Good.
I'm with you.
Good. But
and in fact, she was marketing first.
But before we do that, I have a quick game that I want to play with you. It's everybody's song. Everybody knows the song, right? Lyrics. Say play a game. Yeah. Let's all play a game with Gary. Let's all play a game. Yes, it is time for us to play a quick game. Gary, this is how this game works. You ready for this?
Right.
I have 5 questions I'm going to shoot at you real quick, okay? Each one of these quotes is directly from Grant Cardone. The other 2 are from not. Okay,
this will be fun.
Yes, there's 5 questions total.
So I'm putting it all on the line, is what you're telling me.
Each question, your goal is to find the X. Each question is worth 2 points. Therefore, if you get all 10 or 5 questions right, you've just got 10X'd.
Yeah.
All right, that's the game. All right, so here we go. Round number 1. You ready for this?
Yes.
All right, here's the quotes. Success is a journey best traveled at a steady pace, not leaps and bounds. No. Fortune favors the bold, but wisdom guides the boldest. Or luck is just one of the byproducts of those who take the most action.
It's absolutely number 3.
Okay.
Luck is just a byproduct.
Yep, 100%. Yay. Ding. Where's my ding?
Oh, the cricket. Oh, man.
Cricket? There. All right, there it is. Got it. Okay, number 2. Now I can't hear myself all of a sudden. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah,
all right, cool. I don't know what I just pressed. Number 2. Blame is the refuge of the uninspired youth. There it is. Thank you. Blame is the refuge of the uninspired. Own your path. Your destiny is written by your own hand, not by others. Take full responsibility for everything in your life.
Number 3 again. Take full responsibility.
Wow, you're killing this. Beep.
Johnny, I'm a little worried you might stump me on one of these, but so far we're good.
So far, yeah. I tried making these because I'm actually pulling quotes from other people. I should say who they're coming from. I'm not though. I don't know.
That's all right. We'll just focus on.
Okay, here we go. That full-time job won't bring you wealth. Saving won't bring you wealth. Overspending won't bring you wealth. Or wealth is built in margins. Save diligently and spend wisely.
No.
Or a 9-to-5 may pay the bills, but investments build an empire.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Please.
Can I guess A?
Okay, A for her.
See, you put in build an empire.
I did!
And build an empire throws me because now I'm thinking.
Because, yeah.
Right, but build an empire is an Elena thing, right? So I'm thinking
interesting.
It's not Grant. It's more Elena.
Oh.
So I'm going to go with A. I think you're right.
Yes, that's it. Yep,
Yay!
A. There it is. Yeah.
I think I've learned a lot about Grant Cardone just by sitting with you.
Right?
All right, let's.
Right? Now, build
I'm
an empire,
catching on.
though.
Which is
Elena
funny. I
Cardone's
did throw
book.
that in
The
there.
9 to 5 that got me.
Yes.
In that one.
Yeah, so I did
Although
that.
It doesn't sound like him.
I-
I'm getting to know.
Well, it does because he's really hitting the real estate side of things, and
Yeah.
that whole real estate development thing is all about building an empire. But you're right; that's
Right.
also an Elena thing
That's
that
an Elena
got pulled in there.
Yep.
Okay, you ready? Family first. This is about family. Family first. Any threat to my children will be met with fierce protection. A father's duty is to guard his family against all dangers, no matter the cost. Or protect your kids. Grown man said he wanted to marry my daughter from the audience. My response: nope, you don't, and I will kill you.
Oh, that's not what he said. He said, I will fucking kill you. I will spend the rest of my life in jail. I know I did the right thing. And then he said, don't even wait for her to grow up. Forget about it.
That's, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I think I was thinking, he told that from the event. That was a great moment. That was a great moment.
Yep.
That happened for real?
Yes,
At the event?
at the event, his daughter's 15, speaking on stage. Some guy yells up, "Can you marry me?" Grant came up. He let her finish. A couple minutes later, he comes up and he goes, "Don't even think about it."
That is so
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. All right, last one. This is it for the 10X.
For the 10.
You've done it. Yeah, here we go. If you want to have it all, you have to assume responsibility for everything.
Strong start.
Having it all requires balance, patience.
No.
Okay. To achieve greatness, delegate your weakness and focus on your strengths.
While that's a valid component, it's A.
It is A. You've got 10X, buddy.
There we go.
There it is.
I get to keep my spot.
I love it.
Now, next, actually, you know what'd be fun? You know what I'd love to do? And I know we got 4 minutes.
No, I gotta go.
I know that you're taking the headphones off and leaving right now. Okay, I'd love if you can set this up.
Sure.
To have your number one competitor on. We'll come up with like a 10X game on here, and you guys can compete.
Okay.
I'll come up
talk
with
to
something
Jake.
fun. Talk to him and see if he'll be willing to do that.
I bet you he would.
We got the TV. We can bring him in, and we'll have you two compete in like some sort of 10X type of deal. Is he in Michigan?
No, he's not.
Where's he out of?
Out west.
Out west. All right, got it.
We can FaceTime him in.
We'll figure something.
We're gonna do that. That's gonna be
we'll float the idea.
that's gonna be a thing that we do. Well, it is that time. Thank you for spending time with us today.
So much. Yes, it's that time. It's time to get the legs up.
Thank you very much to our guest, Gary, 10X Coaching. All his information is going to be in the link to this podcast. If you're watching it, it's all in the comments. Thank you very much for joining us again. Congratulations. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Peace. All right, quick, face the camera. Picture time. 10X it. Oh, that was a good time.
The door is open, so come on in. Sound check done. Let's begin. Breaking news together.
I didn't have time.
Streaming live for you to view.
We didn't have time. We're too busy talking about everything else. That's why you got to come back. Absolutely, thank you. Actually, yeah. What the fuck? Why is he? Oh, hang on. Let me turn this Summer. Our views are gonna go through the roof.